Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm joined by Daniel Kim. He is a high performance coach that I happen to be connected with because I recently just purchased a coach. I joined this little community where a coach teaches me how to coach, and I got connected with some high caliber people who are also trying to do the same thing. And Daniel reached out to me and said, "Hey, Leah, the main coach, said that I should reach out." And Daniel's been doing this for at least a year, it seems like, and he has a lot of success in this business. And yeah, I was just wanted to sit down and pick his brain because he seems like a very interesting and smart man. So thanks for coming on, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. My first podcast.
Heck yeah. So yeah, like I'm curious. Well, how did you first get connected with Leah?
Oh, with Leah. I It's a little while back. I've actually known her for quite a while, probably about 8 months, almost a year. But I was in a program. It's called HPI with a different coach, and she was one of the first members in the cohort. And so I saw her that she was also a high performance coach, and I thought I'd reach out because she was in the same position that I was in, but like a year or two in advance. And so I thought maybe she learned things over time when she started her first business as a high performance coach as well, and so got to learn a lot from her, and then eventually I got to work with her. So yeah.
That's really cool. That's awesome. And yeah, like I guess we'll go farther back, I guess. So you told me that you have a passion for sales and marketing and you've kind of known it for a while. You study it or you did study it back in university. I'm just curious, what sparked that curiosity and yeah, why do you have such an interest in sales and marketing?
Right. For sales and marketing, I think for marketing, it's I've really always loved creating, innovating, and it's something like marketing is it's always constantly evolving, and so there's different trends, there's different marketing strategies, there's different platforms, different channels that you can basically start using and start creating different types of content, and that's why I like it. It's always changing, it's always dynamic, and so I'm able to adapt and I'm able to learn new skills as it goes. Um, yeah, that's why I love marketing personally. How I got started was join university. I'm still in university. I'm a fourth year, going to my fourth year student as a business student, studying marketing as well as
Nice.
entrepreneurship. So that's how I got involved with marketing specifically. I've been doing my own content for a year and a half about now. Sales, I think in the past I've always had like a negative connotation about sales. Like it's like,
Mm,
you think of those car salespeople or like people who try to make you buy a certain product or service. They just want the money. And so it is difficult for me to transition into selling my own program, like selling um, my own services, right? But I think the mindset switch there um, really helped me, like the sales mindset of like I'm genuinely trying to help this person, and I'm trying to help this person make the best possible choice for them. And so I've always loved meeting people, always prioritized basically refining my articulation of thoughts, whether it's like written or speaking verbally, and being able to persuade and influence people to make a certain decision, right? That's going to impact them, however big in their life. That's one of the strongest skills that you can learn as a person, right? Not only for business, but also as a leader, right? If you're able to bring together a team and influence them to your idea or your way of thinking, maybe your vision, and show them that your vision um, and make them believe in it, that's an incredible, basically superpower, right? Now you can build a team anywhere, you can be a leader anywhere you go. So that's that's why not only sales but communication has always been one of my top priorities to learning. So
yeah, that's really awesome. I kind of had that same view of like, oh, I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't want to like try to sell someone something that they don't need, or I don't want to like pressure them into a position that they don't want to be in. But I'm seeing like the other side of that where it's like, if you're genuinely caring about the person and you feel as if the thing that you're trying to get them to buy is something that really will move them to the next level in whatever dimension we're talking about. But I'm curious, like, when did you have that shift in mindset? What inspired that shift?
Hmm. I don't think it was like one big like aha moment. I think it was like multiple little aha moments. I think in the beginning, I approached it with um, not like a terrible mindset, but it was more so like um, in a sense of like, oh, I needed money, right? But that's like the wrong place to come with it, because then subconsciously, unconsciously, your brain starts to like think that way. And so it took me a little bit to really transition, and I think it helps with once you have leverage. Like once you have leverage and you don't need money anymore, like it's not like like this isn't your full thing that's like bringing you income. Like you need this to survive. Once you have that leverage, it's easier to have that perspective of okay, like genuinely, I'm only doing this to help you. Like you are the main person here. I'm not trying to make a sale. I'm not trying to do anything. The sale is only going to help me for like 5 minutes. I'm going to feel good about it. But in reality, this is going to change their life. And I actually was thinking about this. You didn't. Um, it wasn't for this, but it was just something I had in the back of my mind while I was showering. It was basically the conviction that you need as a basically in sales. It's I think one of my old coaches, he mentioned that when he was first starting out, someone in the Philippines invested 10 years worth of his savings into his program. And so I don't know about you, Harley, but for me in the past, I don't know if I would have had that conviction of like being able to say, hey, my program is worth that 10 years of your saving. My program is worth you, and it's going to change your life. Like I'm 100% convicted and I'm 100% confident that if you take action on everything that I'm going to give you, it's going to work. I guarantee you that it's going to work. I'm going to give my 100%. And you sort of need that conviction in order to uh, like basically have any business. Like you have to really believe in your product and your service. And I think that took me a little while to learn. Like it took me like I'm someone who is very like results based, and so I used to go. I still do actually. I go over my program. I go over every single module, every video, like word for word. I review it. I see the results that I've given my clients. I've seen testimonials. I follow up with them, one on one throughout, see how they're doing, the progress that they're making, any struggles. And I really want to make sure that this is something that I can confidently say will help. Like I've personally done the research. I've personally seen all the struggles that people have gone in through the program. I've seen all the wins, the massive wins that they've created. And once you have that, it's like undeniable proof. Like if these people are giving you testimonials and it's like honest and it's not, scripted or, I'm telling them to speak a certain way, um, you stack those mini wins, right? And it gives you that conviction. So yeah, I think I might have strayed a little bit away from the question, but I think the fundamental is still there, like with sales.
For sure. Yeah, like, yeah, being a results oriented man, probably both of us are like that. When you were first starting your coaching program, I bet it was kind of hard to be insanely convicted because you're like, I don't have that many like testimonials. The results are mainly maybe just me. Like I don't have that many other people. Like I'm kind of in that same boat at the moment. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have this podcast where I've talked about my niche a lot, which is the quitting porn. I've had a lot of people reach out to me saying, I love what you're doing with this. Keep making videos on that. So like I kind of have some sense of how helpful I might be in this dimension, but like at the current moment, I'm just about to start these sales calls and it's like, I got to be, like you said, quite convicted that, yeah, you're going to make this decision and your life will change. Sure, quitting porn is a very hard thing, but it's going to be a lot easier if you join this program because you're going to be held accountable, not just to you, but to multiple other people along the same goal. And so I'm curious, the question now comes out is like, when you were first starting your program, how did you get that conviction?
Mm. I think the thing with that, at least for me, was I heard this from another podcast. It's pretty funny. It's called The Mindset Mentor. Um, but he
I know
brought
him.
up a concept of like taking action regardless of how you feel and regardless of how confident you are. It's like you don't have to believe in yourself to take action. You just have to take action. Like, would it be nice? Would it be nice to believe in yourself? Obviously, right? It'd be great if you could have that conviction, have that confidence before you take action. But the reality is, it's probably not for most people when they're first starting. And so, being able to take action regardless of what you feel about yourself is a superpower within itself, right? So, I just booked as many sales calls as I could, right? Strategy calls. And I took them more in a perspective of like learning. So the perspective that I go with basically anything in life is the faster that I could fail, the faster that I can learn, and the faster that I can learn means the faster that I can win, right? The faster I can start changing people's lives. And so I reached out to everyone. Like I didn't really focus on a specific target audience, a specific persona. I reached out to all my connections that I had from high school, university, from like colleagues, everything. And I just hopped on calls, like thought about, what their struggles were, if they have even this struggle. And that's how I kind of grew my confidence. And then I started mentoring people. And then, yeah. I think in the beginning though, before I started the coaching business, I actually started mentoring people for free, just to
Mm.
test the waters a bit. But I realized it's pretty tough, especially because I didn't have a coach. I didn't know where I was going, and yeah, I think once I started that, I realized when you pay attention. And so if I was mentoring people for free, yeah, I was helping them out, I was giving them tips, but the reality is they have no skin in the game, and it's just really difficult, like near impossible to take it seriously enough. And so I found that it was not really wasting both of our times, but in a sense, it wasn't the best use of our times. So,
Yeah, that's really well said. Yeah, I've been thinking like there's been parts of my brain that have been saying, Harley, why don't you just offer all these resources for free?
mhm,
Be the good person who can just give and give and give. And it's like, well, I have YouTube videos on this topic. Anyone can go find a YouTube video of how to quit porn. They watch the video for 10 minutes and it's like, oh, that was kind of inspiring. But then, maybe they go a day, but then they keep, nothing changes because you didn't actually do anything that was hard. There was no sting of like, oh, that was a bit of money. It's like once you have to like put your money where your mouth is, and it's like, oh, I'm actually wanting to quit, or I'm actually wanting to improve my time efficiency or my productivity. It's like, I see it as a problem, but I'm willing to put down the purchase. That's when finally you are able to, like, I don't know, it's like it gives you reason to try your absolute hardest.
mhm,
And yeah, like you said, you're not wasting the coach's time. You don't feel like a leech who's like, oh, they're just helping me out. Oh, can I have a little more help? And it's like, then it's not that resentful. The coach gets resentful and the person just keeps asking. It's like, it's truly mutually beneficial. And that's kind of the beautiful thing. And I've kind of had to train my brain to say, like, Harley, don't feel bad for trying to offer a high quality service that's going to cost some money to people, because if they truly want to change, and that's the kind of people I'm trying to attract, people who really want to change, who are serious about improving,
mhm.
it's like, then you're really going to help them and they're going to help you. It's like, that's how economics works. And so, yeah, it's been an interesting shift that I've faced just in the past month, because that's when I kind of first started talking with Leah. I'm like, yeah, so it's been very interesting. And,
Mm. I love that. Kind of reminds me of basically anything about habit change. So like think about porn, it's the fundamental still there about habit change. It's like um, a lot of people they focus on like the goals, the actions, like what's needed, right? So you watch a video, and that's good, but a lot of the times they don't focus on like the identity behind it, like the identity of the person they need to be. Like what kind of person would be someone who doesn't watch porn, who constantly takes action on his goals or her goals or whatever. Um, and so it's really about forming those identity-based habits. Having that accountability really helps with that because it's not only you involved now, it's now, a person like Harley. Harley taking action, Harley giving you the exact steps, personalized helping. And so it's not just the information, it's like the implementation. And I like what you said about the value. I think everyone struggles with that, especially coaches, right? When they have like services like program. A lot of the times they fear, even I do. I shouldn't say you, they. I should say we. Like we fear, giving away too much. But the reality is most people don't take action on that. And if you were able to find this, then most likely if they try hard enough, they're probably going to find it too, right? I mean, people sell $1,000 courses and you see other people like having those same courses for like $5. And so if they try hard enough, they could find it, but that's not really the problem. And so now I kind of go with the mindset of, hey, I'll give everything for free. Like everything that I know, everything that I've learned, everything that I am learning and continue to learn, and I'll give it all for free. But if you need help with the implementation, right? Like I'll give you all the information. If you can do it yourself, that's amazing. Like that's why I'm here. Like my main mission is to help other people, right? But if you struggle like me, like I really struggled with actually implementing it, right? Like I knew what I had to do. I knew what I was doing was bad, but it's like I was just so in love with the comfort and I was so in love with being where I was. The pain wasn't strong enough, right? Like I was just scraping by in life and I didn't have a sense of urgency. I didn't have someone to, guide me in the right direction, right? And so I think that's the crux of, your solution, your unique value proposition. It's being able to actually help them get from point A to point B, like with as much ease and with as much speed and um, making sure that stays consistent. So
Yeah, that's really well said. I liked what you said about how it's like, yeah, you can follow the Instagram, you can follow my Facebook, you can watch my things. Most of my stuff's free, in your case. It's like, but if you really want me to guide you step by step through the process, I'd love to help, and it's going to cost a little more. But, if you're a person who believes you can do it without my step by step hand holding, go for it. It's like I like that. That's really well said, and that's yeah, it's just, it kind of shows like a person is truly serious when it's like you said, you had a problem with trying to implement habits into your life. I had a problem with porn for so long. I couldn't really do it alone. I needed to, I formed an accountability group and I had to speak to the world about it. And that's what kind of got me off of it. But not everyone can do these things alone. And that's kind of just the beauty of what a coach is. It's a person who's in your corner who really is wanting the best for you. And yeah, but I'm curious your backstory a little bit more, where it's like, when did you first recognize that you weren't the person you wanted to be in regards to habit implementation, time management, etc.? And then I guess walk me through how you decided to form this program, and then I guess define what your program is. That's kind of a long process of question, but I'm just curious to that.
yeah, I'll start with the first one. It's basically my background, my story. I think, well, I struggled with procrastination. I struggled with phone addiction, inconsistent habits, right? Like I would go to the gym 20 to 25 times within a year. Like I would start and then give up, start and then give up every single time. And it got tiring. Really, I got to a point where I just like hated my lifestyle. It was just like disgusting because I was, you know, playing video games, watching anime, watching YouTube, watching shows for 12 to 14 hours a day, literally every single day while in school during COVID. Um, I was just always at home, right? And so I've always been, it was never that bad, but beginning from the pandemic, 2020 around to 2022, February 2022 is when I made the massive switch. I think as soon as um, the winter semester, so that was around like October 2021, I started kind of like researching into it a little bit more, right? Like school went back in person. I was like, okay, this is my opportunity to change the identity of who I am. Like I didn't know anything I know now, but I knew that this is like a golden opportunity. Like people don't really get another opportunity like this for like at least a few years, right? Nobody knows me in university. Nobody knows me. It's been like 2 years. I've just always stayed at home. And so when university went back in person, I decided that, okay, I'm going to become like a new person. But
Mm.
what I didn't do then was I didn't create the identity. I focused on, the goals and actions that I talked about, like the 3 steps, goals, action, and the identity. I focused on more of the action, which is good, but like I changed, for example, like small things like hairstyle, my what I wear, like how I present myself, how I speak, like things like those, and it helped. It did, but it only helped really on the outside. I was still like playing video games. I was still like hanging around the same people. I was still like being the same person. Like I would quit going to the gym and still do that, right? Like I have a picture of before. It's like a meme going on. It's like before and before, but it's like 2020 to 2022. Like I was like the exact same person. Like maybe like appearance wise, like I changed a bit, but deep down, like my identity was the same, right? And
Mm,
February 2022, um, that's when I really shifted. Like I kind of like woke up and I was like, okay, like what the hell have I been doing, right? I said I was gonna change from the winter semester like around September, October, and I did, but now we're back to square one, right? We never really built that identity. We only took action and we only changed a bit. But if that's the case, then nothing's ever really gonna change if your identity is still there. It's like you're taking action until you like fall back into your old routine, like your old habits, right? Under pressure. And so February 2022 came around and I said, okay, like what have I been doing? Like you said that you were gonna do this. Like what happened? And I really like I almost went like ghost. There's a like name that goes around a lot. It's called like monk mode. And so I didn't
yeah,
know
I've
what
heard of
that
that.
was until like a year later. But I basically went into like a version of that for my own. And so I literally went ghost. Like I had like an identity crisis. I was like, how do I even make friends? Like how do I like I'm always extroverted. I think like I took the test, I'm like 95% extroverted. I was like, how do I even make friends? Like who am I? Like what do I even want? Who was I in the past? Like who am I now? And like I just went through like such a crisis. I was like, what am I doing in life? And so every single day, I found out the mindset mentor, huge help for anyone
Mm,
listening to the recording. Um, I don't know how I came across his channel. I like on his podcast. I think I was just like scrolling and like seeing ways on how I can actually like step away from the person I am now. Found him, listened to that for like 3 months straight, every single day. I think I went through more than half of his episodes, and he's been doing it for like 10 years. And so I was listening for like hours every single day, just consuming it. And it really shifted my mindset because I was constantly hearing that. And so I started with that. And then he gave like a prompt. He's like, oh, like just post on your Instagram. Like say you're starting as a mindset coach, you're starting just for free, like you'll help out people. And I did that. It took me like 3 weeks to post because I was so scared. And I posted that. I got some clients, did that, and then that's how I started my coaching business. Um, but that's kind of the journey. Um, like it really begins with the mindset and it begins with the identity of the person you want to be. And so one thing that I learned there was I got clear on who I wanted to be, who I wanted to surround myself with, rather than, the goals and actions that I need to take. I went like one step further and then yeah, that's sort of what kickstarted everything. Got my own coach. That was tremendous help because I feel like if I didn't have that coach, I honestly probably would have given up, right? Despite everything that I had, because of that lack of accountability, I just had no direction on what I was doing. Like the mentoring thing or free, like sure, I had a little bit of direction, but it was like the paradox of choice, right? Like there was so many different options I could have gone, like so many businesses I could have started.
mm,
Um, it's like it's almost like um, if you have no direction, you're gonna get random results. Like if you're doing random things, and so if you continuously get random results, like a basically like a little bit of you kind of takes that and says, is this really the direction we need to go? Like I'm not seeing any results. What am I doing? And then you fall back into your old habits. And so I think
mm.
finding a coach was one of the best things, best investments I've ever made in my life. And he was expensive. He was
Which coach?
this Richard Yu. Um,
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so I was with him, 12K at the time Canadian. I had 25, 2,800 in my bank, and or like around there. But we did installment plans, and I was left with like $200, $300, and like I gotta pay for tuition, I gotta help my family with rent, I gotta do a lot of
Mm.
things, right? So it wasn't an easy thing. Like there's a lot of pain in that, but I felt like despite that, like sure it's not a financially smart decision. Like I needed to take that risk, otherwise I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have done everything I did, like who I am today. So
Yeah, that's well said. It's like sometimes you have to put yourself in a position of discomfort, because if you're just comfortable, you're never going to hit that growth. It's like it truly, I'm sure, was insanely stressful, very uncomfortable. You know, you were worried about money for a minute, but like looking back, I'm sure that was one of the better decisions you made.
mhm,
And yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, I'm curious, like what. So you say that you're a high performance coach. You help people uh, not procrastinate, and also help them run away from inconsistency.
Mm.
Uh, I'm curious, how would you define high performance? Like, what does that look like in your life and in your clients' lives?
Mm, good question. I The way I describe high performance is a combination of a few things. It's the mindset as well as productivity, basically optimizing your systems. And so the reason I say mindset is because that's like the fundamental. If you don't have that, then it's like building a house on sand, right? And so high performance for me, that looks like having a routine, for example, right? Like a morning and evening routine. Um, Waking up 5:30, I get water, whatever, read the Bible, and then I go straight into deep work, or absolute focus is what I call it. And so an hour and a half, I get deep work
Mm,
every single day. I get 7 to 9 hours every single day, and then um, I work out 6 times a week, every day, right? And so if I automate all the
yep.
small things, I'm now able to basically have more freedom in decision making for the bigger things, right? And I think that's a misconception about a lot of things about high performance is a lot of people think that if you have routines, if you have habits, they think it takes away the freedom, but that's not true. It's because if you're able to automate all the small things and you remove the decision process from the things that, getting sleep, right? That's essential. Going to the gym, that's essential, right? If you're able to automate those, then you no longer have to think about them, and it no longer um, restricts you from everything that you have to do. You don't have to think about when you're going to go. You don't have to think about what you're going to do. You have that plan, and then the rest of the day, I have like 12 hours of the day now to do whatever I want, right? I could like work on my business. I could join organizations. I could find another career. I could do whatever, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I have that freedom of time. Anything I can do, it's like I have that time. And then I always make sure to have a cutoff time as well. So I'm sure you know what that is, but it's
Mm-hmm.
basically having a hard stop, right? It's making sure I never burn out, right? And I have like also like a Sunday, it's like a fun day for me, and so I can do whatever.
Nice.
And in the past, my girlfriend's in Singapore right now, but
Mm.
that would be like my date nights, and so we would have at least one date a week, maybe like two or three, and so it gives me the flexibility that most people don't actually realize they don't have. Yeah. And I think
Yeah, that's really well said. I like that. Keep going. Keep going.
yeah, sorry. I think I missed the question that you asked before. It was basically
Mm.
what do I do? Like how do I help my clients basically achieve it? Um, Basically, I work with clients from morning to evening. It's like complete mastery. And so I help them begin with a mindset first, and then it goes into shifting your environment. That's like the people you surround yourself with, the physical environment, the mental environment. Like subconsciously, unconsciously, we have like 85,000 thoughts. I'm not gonna go into the statistics, but you're basically influenced by everything around you. And so you gotta really take care of those, right? If you're always getting reminded by, distractions or like things you don't want to do, right? In your instance, if your clients have like pornography material all over their wall, they're going to get influenced by that, right? And so that's a big problem. The most disciplined people, they spend their time in um, less distracting environments, right? Where they don't have to use willpower. And even if you do have willpower, I see this argument come up a lot, like, oh, like if you completely take away that, then wouldn't it, like, what is discipline? But the thing about that is, even if you
Mm.
can use your willpower to resist, let's say pornography in your instance, like what you're coaching, or let's say like gaming addictions, or anything else, really, it's like, why would you? Because then it takes away your mental capacity to do any other decisions, right? It like sucks away your energy when we only have like a finite amount of energy and time every single day. So why not automate those, make it as easy as possible for you to stick with those habits, and then use your brain power for things that actually move the needle in your business or move the needle in your life. And so that's what I teach in like the first two modules, overcoming procrastination, and then we set up personalized morning and evening routines. And then lastly, it's like I call it the on-purpose planning system. It's how you can actually do this consistently, like basically without my help, or how you can make sure that this is a solid foundation going forward after this. And so that's essentially a high-level overview. But yeah.
Sure. It's really cool. Yeah, there's a few things I want to mention. First off, you're kind of talking about designing your life in a way that, your important tasks are on the list and you'll get them done. There's no question about when or why or how.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting done in this period of time. And now you've segmented other parts of your life, other parts of your day for, whether that be personal, leisure, anything else. And that's kind of the beauty of, in my opinion, time management, where it's like so many people say like, oh, I just don't have the time. I'm too busy. And I'm just always like, you have 16 hours in your day that you are awake. That's if you get the recommended amount of sleep. Some people don't even sleep that much, so they might even have more time in the day. And I'm always like, okay, even if you have a full-time job and you worked 8 hours, even if you do have to commute, you still have a good 6 hours of time in which you can plan your day and get a lot done. You can get a lot done in 6 hours. And it's like, that's kind of the mindset that I really enjoy, where it's like, if you just take a minute to break down what your day is going to be consisted of, and you write down and plan out like, okay, in this 45-minute segment, I'm doing this, non-negotiable, no room for indecision. And it leaves you that ability for freedom. It's like, it's a kind of a paradox where it's like, when you're more rigid about your schedule, you are gifted more free time and more, an enjoyable life in some sense. So I find that to be amazing, and kind of ties in with this idea of like the 4-hour work week. Like, if you plan your deep work in a specific time and get it as much done in that period of time, and then take a stop, like, you're going to be more rested and rejuvenated, and your deep work is going to be incredibly focused and productive. And I just find that to be really, really awesome. And it's kind of similar to what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I
Yeah.
think a few things came in mind when you were talking about that. It's like sort of the mindset you got to approach this with. And so you talked about a few things, but first is the concept of like time, right? It's almost like you got to switch it from a lazy mindset to like a solution-oriented mindset, meaning um, despite any challenges that come up, right? Let's say like you don't have time, right? Let's say you are really busy, like you're balancing 3 jobs, like you have children, you have everything. 100% those are valid excuses, right? Like you might literally not have time, but I don't think that's the issue anymore. I think it's almost the mindset. So I'm not gonna be ignorant and say like, oh, you can always make time. You can, but to an extent. And I can go about that like after this. But it's
True.
really about the mindset switch. It's like, okay, like I have this problem. This is what's going on in my life. I'm extremely busy. I have really tight deadlines. It's really hard to fit anything. Okay, good. It's about like playing that good game, right? Like, good. What can I do to actually create
Hmm.
time? What can I do to be more productive? What can I do to maybe outsource some of my things, right? And start thinking about creative ways to find those solutions rather than staying stuck and being like, okay, I have so many things, like reasons why. You can always think of reasons why you can't. There's a million reasons, right? You can always make excuses for why you can't do anything, but that's the that's like the basis, right? If you can't switch that mindset yet, then nothing's going to change, right? So you have to start seeing it in a different light. Reframe that perspective into, okay, good. Like, good. I'm extremely busy. Good. I only got like 4 hours of sleep. Like, I'm able to like optimize it so I'm able to get everything done in a certain amount of time and maybe get 8 hours of sleep the day tomorrow. And so it's really about taking that mindset first. And then the second thing that I wanted to kind of bring up there was the concept of time and basically like procrastination. And so there's two distinctions that we have to make is like fake procrastination versus real procrastination. Fake is like when you have the time and you're actually not, or sorry, fake procrastination is when you don't have the time and you're prioritizing, right? Let's say you are like you have a family, like you're a mother of two, let's say, and you have a business, you have a career, like you're balancing a lot of things, right? And you're gonna have to prioritize. Some things you literally cannot fit into your day, and even if you do, it's not very effective. And I totally understand that, right? And so then you're gonna have to start prioritizing things and maybe um, again looking at it with a good mindset, like the good game, like find ways to uh, find a solution. And it might not happen immediately. Maybe it might not happen in the first weeks or months. It might take a few years, right? Let's say you want to achieve financial freedom in like a business, right? It might take a few years of you maybe grinding just 1 hour a day. That's all you can make time for. But it's about playing like that good game, right? Switching that mentality from there. And then the real procrastination is, when you have the time, like you said, when they have like 6 hours of
Mm.
time, but they choose not to do it. And so um, another thing that just came into mind, sorry, I'm kind of going off, is
Oh,
I
keep
see this
going.
bring up
This
a
is
lot.
great.
I see this come up a lot for me. I feel like um, a lot of my prospective like students have the same question. It's if you have if you have that 6 hours and I'm like dead tired. Let's say I woke up like 6 a.m. Like got ready for work, commuted, like takes 2 hours, uh, did an 8 hour shift, commuted back. I do have like 4 or 5 hours, right? But when am I going to catch a break, right? That's like a common problem, and I totally understand that. Again, it's not something that I could like really give you tailored advice on because I don't really know your situation, but you got to go with that that mindset again. Like, okay, I am busy. I only have 6 hours of my time. I only have maybe 4 hours a day, but I have to make dinner. I have to take care of the cats. Maybe I have to do a lot of things. Okay, then let's find solutions for that. Let's find ways that we can maybe automate those or make it easier, right? Maybe batch your work a little bit better, or maybe um, like have like set areas for your cats. Like I don't know like what the situation is,
Hmm.
but you're able to create solutions. It might be smaller, but you're able to find ways to do that. Um, and yeah, it's really dependent on everyone's schedule, but try to find ways. You can slip in ways um, to get work done, right? That might be on the 2 hour commute. If it's a 2 hour commute, maybe reconsider, right? Maybe that is the problem. And I'm not saying like quit your job, but find solutions. Okay, like if this is taking 4 hours of my time away commuting to work, is that really the best use of my time? Maybe I could get some work done in the commute. Maybe I could read a book and take some notes into things that I can implement in my business. Right? Like find solutions there. There's always there's always a way to find it to make it work basically. But if you go with a perspective that I see a lot of people come to me with, they're like, Daniel, like I get what you're saying on your Instagram, I get it all, but it's like my life is different. I have everything going on, and it's like, yeah, you're right. Like, but it's like, you know, like you might be busy. You might have like a different lifestyle. Like you might not be able to wake up at 5:30 like me and get in like an hour and a half of deep work. Like your schedule might not align with that. Hey, totally cool. Find ways to work with your time, work with your timeline and your schedule. Right? It's like you got to reframe that mindset before you come to me and say, I have all these things that's come up. You got to look deeper with it. There's always a way. So,
Totally, man. Yeah, it's like there's always a way when you are searching for that way, when you are searching for that solution. There's never going to be a way when you're not. When you're saying, "Oh, there's no hope. Oh, I have no more time. Oh, I'm so busy. Oh, your life just must be different." It's like when people have that view of the world and themselves, it's like they're never really going to succeed until they hear you say something like that or have an aha moment. But it's like I want to kind of mention like something you said where it's like, maybe you can only segment an hour a time a day or an hour a time every other day. Well, guess what? That's better than most people segment into their side hustle or into the thing that they are doing to improve their life. Most people don't segment that time. So it's like, good, you only got 1 hour. Amazing. That's how you are going to reach your goals. It's by segmenting that time and by forming solutions. It's by Instacarting instead of going grocery shopping, spending the extra money on something like that, saving some time. It's like there's solutions all over the place. And if you are constantly searching for them, you're going to be improving, even if it's just a 1% a day improvement. It's like that's way better than zero or negative. It's like people just don't get it. It's like, oh no, I could only have 10 minutes today for my side hustle, Daniel. That's just not enough time. And it's like, well, good. You got 10 minutes in. You better have been very specific and in that 10 minutes because you only had 10 minutes or, you can always reframe it. I love that mindset shift. It's like, I kind of get people hear me say like, yeah, you always have time for something. If it's whatever dream you have 10, 15 minutes a day. My constant phrase to people is you have 16 hours. It's like, Harley, how do you fit in all this stuff? Your life's different. You must not have a real job. And it's like, well, no, I just have designed my life in a different way than you. And now I've built that time. It's like, you can build that time too with that mindset. And I find that to be so true. And there's been people that listen to that advice and, they tell me it's like, yes, I did. I started a blog, Harley. I started whatever it is. And it's like amazing. Even though you had not much time, it's truly about that mindset. And a final thing I wanted to say is kind of like that whole identity thing where it's like, if you identify as a person who has no time and is too busy, then you're going to be the person who has no time and is too busy. But if you identify as the person who looks into your life and solves problems, it's like, I'm a person who makes the most of my scenario. I'm a kind of person who makes time for things. I'm the kind of person who prioritizes the most important things. I'm the kind of person who makes a list of what things are most important and what things are not. I'm the kind of person who plans my day. I am that person. It's like once you say to yourself that you're going to be that person, you're kind of forced to be that person. I'm the kind of person who isn't going to watch porn, so I'm not going to watch. I'm going to surround myself with people who want the best for me. Same thing like with what you're saying about how you are still hanging with the same friends. Oh, I kind of want to change, but it's like all my friends are still just kind of not inspiring me. It's like as soon as you go into a different circle, like that's how you identify and make a real change. And it seems like we're in similar mindsets there because like we've both hit that shift of like we're going up from here and 1% a day improvement every day.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
no,
yeah,
you're
man.
spot on with that. I love everything that you just said. Nice.
So yeah, I'm curious what your favorite books are in regards to business, life, mindset. Yeah, like what's the most impactful one for you or a few?
Hmm. I think my favorite one by far would be How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think
That's a good one.
that was great. Um, I read that book like 4 or 5 times. I think like I was just really studying it, and for anyone watching who doesn't know the book, it's like it's not about like making friends if you have no friends. It's about like being able to communicate and articulate your thoughts to basically lead a group, right? To win people to your way of thinking and to basically influence them, right? And to work with how people work, right? Like to align yourself with like a team formation rather than you're butting heads, right? Like you find solutions together, and so that's what the book's kind of about. There's obviously a lot of other points, but that's some of the main things that I took away. There's Another book is probably Atomic Habits. It's not really
Oh
business
yeah, it's a
oriented, but
solid one.
it's so good. Every
Mindset.
page is like a it's like a drop of gold, right? Um, Another one would probably be Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think he really focuses on the mindset, and he also brings that mindset that I talked about. It's like the lazy mindset, like the lazy person, lazy father in this case, versus the person who's success oriented, right? And you might not be rich at that moment, but it's like the mindset to get there is you can't say, oh, we can't afford it. It's like, how can we afford it? Like, what do we have to do? And so, um, yeah, I think it really falls back into the way you think. If you're able to switch that, you're able to switch basically everything in your life. So,
Yeah, really well said. All amazing books, in my opinion. Yeah, it's like I heard a good quote that said something like, no matter how many business books you read, you're never going to form a business unless you actually start to take action. Like
mm,
it's beautiful to read these books and to learn all these skills and learn all these things, and I'm a huge fan of books, but there's also, like you said, there's the thoughts and goals, but then there's the actions part, and it's like,
mm,
that's where forming a community slash finding a coach slash, I don't know, taking some kind of action is important, and also identifying. It's like a multiple step process. It's like, it's not just about the reading of the books, and it's not just about taking action, and it's not just, it's about like all of them combined. Like you're not going to reach anything just by consuming all kinds of information, and you're also not going to get there just by aimlessly acting. Like you almost have to combine the knowledge from the world and from others, and also combine that with action in an interesting way. And
mm.
yeah, I find that always a question in my head, like how much should I be reading and how much should I be acting? And it's an interesting balance, but I think squeezing both in is very important. But I'm curious what you think.
Yeah. No, I like what you said about that, like the action versus like how much you're learning. I try to go with like the Pareto principle. It's basically
Mm.
20% information and then 80% of it should be action. And um, it's different, but that's like my variation. And yeah, I think that's like the concept of like I've never really heard of anyone think their way to success. It's like you gotta take action, right? You gotta put in the work, and it's really simple. The process is simple. There's everyone says it. There's a million ways to get $1 million, um, but it's not that easy. And so that's why we got to create those systems to be able to take the action that you need. So
Yeah, it's well said, man. And I guess maybe a final question for you. What goals do you have for the rest of the year, whether that be personal goals, business goals? I'm curious what Daniel has planned for the next. Like, what do you want to see yourself be doing in the next 6 months to 12 months?
hmm, that is a good question. Um, I do have goals, and I go over them, but I also have like identities, right? Like rather than
Mm.
like goals that I want to do, those are really good. Actually, I wouldn't say really good, but those are good for like a sense of direction. Maybe like something specific you want to do in like maybe your business or a career. But I like to focus on the identity of the person I want to be. That gives me a lot more flexibility, and it gives me um, basically someone I could rely on, like a picture of the version of myself to look up to when I have to make any decision in my life, right? Like what would this version of Daniel be, right? And so it not only helps me with like, all the other goals, but it helps me with my life in total. So that's why I always encourage people to, rather than focus on like the destination, focus on the journey, focus on like the process, focus on who you're becoming in this path. So I do have goals. I'll go over them. For this year, it's 100 people that I've personally coached. I've coached over 20. Can't give you the exact number, but it's around there. And then, actually, I could, but I just have to pull it up. The 100 people coached by this year, and then monetary wise, it'd be hitting 10K per month. That's just like another small goal that I have. And then by 25, I do have a bigger goal. It's 1,000 people that I've personally coached or personally mentored, and 1 million people that I've personally inspired. That could be through whether that's social media, through
Mm,
podcasts, it could be through YouTube, it could be through public speaking events, whatever it is. Um, that's the goal. Um, but yeah, I think more than that, just focus on the identity. Like focus on who you're gonna be.
for sure. It's like, it's not about the million people necessarily. It's about Daniel being confident enough to speak his mind and to give valuable insights. It's like Daniel is now the guy who, has systems that he believes in and he has conviction behind him. And it's like that's the kind of person one tries to be, and that's the kind of person who can inspire millions. It's like the millions is just kind of an externality of you becoming the person that is inspiring, motivating, very useful, etc. Yeah, man, I'm huge on this identity thing. I think you're tapping into something really, really crucial in regards to this. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. What do you do though, Harley? I never really got to hear
Hmm.
a lot about you. What do you do? Maybe give a
Sure.
feel about that.
So yeah, like this is where I might be a slight hypocrite in regards to the whole like have a singular focus because I have multiple focuses, which is kind of my problem. But
Mm-hmm.
I run a cleaning business in the city I grew up in. My mom started it when she was young, or when I was young, or before I was born. I'm kind of like the accountant guy, so I that's my income and my job that I do to like pay for my other dreams. But I started this podcast about a year and a half ago, mainly because I wanted to get better at speaking, meet new people, form an income, possibly inspire others, those kind of things. And my first episode was on quitting porn, kind of ironically. I also have a few YouTube channels, some that monetize, and a few Facebook channels that monetize. They're like, I don't know, just like fan pages for other accounts and whatnot. And I also now starting this coaching business. And so that's kind of what I do in a nutshell. I also go to industrial engineering school. So yeah, I kind of have a full plate. But the beauty of it is that I have assistants for pretty much every aspect here that do a lot of the work for me. That's the beauty. So it's like, even though I have multiple things going on, I'm now still able to have I have a hard stop where it's like 4 or 5 p.m. I go to the gym and I hang out with my girlfriend and I focus on just life things, even though I have all those other plates that are going on. It's like, so that's kind of me. I'm a, honestly, probably my favorite book that I've read this year is The 4 Hour Work Week, how to implement systems into your businesses so that you can live a life that is not just business oriented. Because, you'll see me in 6 months having another business idea and I'll be trying it out and paying people to do it for me. That's just kind of my strategy. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, that's kind of a little nutshell about me.
Interesting. So you just started this coaching business as well. It was
Yeah,
last like
like
month.
like it's I've made like 6 podcasts on the topic of porn. I mainly make these videos because porn was honestly probably the worst habit about myself. It's like I liked Harley in a lot of aspects. My identity, I appreciated. I hit the gym. I, a lot of different things I really enjoyed. Very, good grades in school. Financially savvy and business smart. But then I'd watch porn, and so like a year ago, my girlfriend broke up with me because of this habit of porn. And it kind of like, pushed me into a whole different mindset of like, do you want this to keep happening, Harley? You gotta identify as someone who doesn't watch anymore. You gotta take some changes. And I went a good 9 months without it. It's been like 10 months that I haven't really watched, and in that process, I've found a new woman, and like it's like been my promise to her, like I'm just gonna keep making videos on porn because I don't want to lose this precious thing that we have, and porn is something that it's so gripping to me still. But like I know that if I have the whole world accountable to me, I can now be kind of a leader in this dimension, and I'd be incredibly hypocritical to watch porn now. And then I made a video about a week ago, no, I'd say about a month ago now, on the topic of porn, and I got like so many DMs, so many calls from friends that I haven't talked to in years, Snapchats from people I haven't talked to since like freshman year of college, and they're like, "Bro, your video about porn truly inspired me. I really look up to what you're doing. I've been trying to quit myself, and I just had a dream that night of like, what if you tried to help people? That'd be the perfect way to keep running from porn. And
Mm,
so that's what I've done.
I love that. That's a that's a really sick journey. I think
Thanks, man.
mine was a little similar as well. I think I actually didn't bring this up before, but I also was dating a girl at the time, and
Mm.
once we broke up, I think that really like woke me up a little, and so like I'm kind of glad that it happened because I wouldn't be the person I was today, and so sometimes there's lessons in life, sometimes you gotta learn from them. So yeah,
Yeah, man. You never know. Like, sometimes you see those memes of like, oh, my girlfriend just broke up with me. Time to gym. And that was kind of me. It's like, I want to hit the gym. I want to focus more on this business. I want to just become a person that women really truly want. It's like, I want to identify as someone who's high quality. And so I just kept going for it. So
mm,
yeah, man,
I love that.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
I think mine was very similar. It's I didn't want it to be like the focus of like, oh, like that's what kickstarted, but it really did. It kind of woke me up, and I started to reflect on myself. Like, who was I? What kind of person do I want to be? Because I felt like I lost the sense of myself in that. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited to see where we both keep going to and who we turn into as men. I'm also like a final question. How old are you? I'm just curious.
Do you want to take a guess?
22, 23?
I'm 20.
Oh, there we go. Well done, man.
What about you?
Man,
I'm
that's
not sure how
awesome.
old you are.
Uh, you guess.
We said freshman year of college, so maybe like 24, 25.
Yeah, I'm 22. So,
Really? Okay. Nice.
heck yeah, man.
Starting early, I like
No,
it.
that's fun. Yeah, you too. Seriously. Wow.
Appreciate
But
it.
awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on. It's been a true pleasure.
Yeah, no, that was an amazing conversation. First podcast, great, like great experience. Love talking to you. Hopefully we
Yeah,
can stay in touch, keep in
for
contact.
sure, man.